My video for January the 6th, 2018 is entitled Predictions for 2018. The first Friday in each new year, a discussion group that I belong to meets to make predictions for that year. Most of those in the group are at least somewhat idealistic, though our ideals often fail to materialize. Interestingly, out of 10 people in last night's meeting, 3 are named Mike. I guess you could call it an open mic night. Well, predictions were all over the place. Some see Trump being either impeached or killed this year. Others see him succeeding in some of his plans to overthrow the deep state. Some predict the election this year will see the Democrats taking over both branches of Congress, and others see the Republicans making huge gains. The only foreign-born member of the group sees a political shift on the Arabian peninsula. As for me and one other man, we recognize that unless there is some kind of spiritual awakening that enables us to love one another, the human future on our planet will not improve. A point of interest, there were 7 men and 3 women present. I can remember times, going to the last sentence there, when there were more women in the group than there were men, although it's usually been actually pretty much 50-50 when I come to think of it. But it was definitely a predominance of men of 10 people last night. And I can remember when it used to be 15 people, 15 to 20 people that might show up for that discussion group. That's one of the most popular meetings of the year that the group has, although every Monday is a discussion group. And those are usually better attended than some of the ones where we simply watch a movie or something, which is on the plan for next week when I've provided a movie for the group to watch about Carl Jung, which I found quite fascinating. Anyway, predictions for 2018. We started the meeting with going back to see how many of our predictions last year came true over the year, and we do not have a very good percentage of predicting what things are actually going to happen. Now, as far as elections go, one of the members seems to be a Democrat. I mean, when he says that the Democrats are going to take over both houses of Congress, I find that incredible. I think the previous election left the Democrats very, very weakened. And of course, the mainstream media, they don't really care which party, as long as the people that are in the White House support their agenda. And in the past, it didn't matter which party was in office, because both parties marched to the beat of the international bankers and to the elite establishment, especially the Israeli establishment. Now, when I mentioned that the only foreign-born group sees political shift on the Arabian Peninsula, he says that the original, it was known as Arabia, not Saudi Arabia, but the House of Saud, he says, is being dismantled and taken down. But that is the way, and this is a person who was born in that part of the region. He's from that part of the region, and he worked in the U.S. government for, I believe, a 3-letter agency. I'm not sure exactly which one. I think the CIA, but again, I'm not sure of that. I know he drives a Jaguar, and he does travel to other parts of the world fairly regularly every year. So he's probably more well-to-do than many of the people that go to the group. Although I don't think anybody's impoverished there. I'm probably, well, there's two of us. The person who predicts the Democrats taking over and myself are probably the two least prosperous people. Although one other man who doesn't come regularly, hadn't been there in, God, I think more than a year it's been since he's been there, that showed up last night. I don't know. I really don't know his financial status, but I think he might be in about a similar status to myself. In any case, as I said in the blurb, the predictions were all over the place because many of us are disillusioned with what's happening in the world. Some people see that there's going to be war, and I think that the Illuminati or the elite establishment realizes that an overt war doesn't work very well anymore. Now, they'd like to get, and if Hillary had gotten into office, I think they would have tried to start a war with Russia, which would have been absolute insanity. But of course, she did not get in, and I hope that her arrest, and that was one of the other subjects that came up last night. Some people do not see her actually being arrested. They see her being silenced in some way, but not actually sent off to Guantanamo, which is what rumors I've been hearing on some of the things that I get sent to me. I don't know if this Guantanamo thing is actually happening or not, but they're supposedly taking out a lot of the cabal here in the United States. And if that's true, I applaud it. Now, I don't know how many of the Zionistic influences that are in the United States are going to be taken out. And of course, pedophilia is the crime against humanity that is bringing down a lot of the elite, according again to some sources. Now, what sources tell the truth? I am also skeptical that nobody really knows. Nothing we are told, even in the alternative media, can be depended on as being actually factual. It's one of those situations where we don't know what to believe. As I've said in other videos, I can read two well-written and well-thought-out articles that present the exact opposite scenario, and both of them, when you listen to what they're saying or hear what they're saying, both of them sound somewhat plausible because they are very adept at presenting their case well. And I've even seen that, by the way, with flat Earth. There's some people in the flat Earth thing that present a pretty good case. I think the group, one of the things that we were unanimous on is that we don't live on a flat Earth. I don't think anybody in that group last night was one of the flat Earth people, which of course I've talked about before, and I think that's an insanity. In any case, 2018 is here, and we're living in it, and there are going to be events that happen. I'd like to see divine intervention, as I've said before. One other person agreed with me, and that person is going to live in another country, and one of the BRICS nations, in fact, and he leaves in 5 days and will not be in the United States for a period of time. He's going to India, in fact. So there's changes abreast, and how they play out for us is anybody's guess. Thank you for listening, and namaste.